As some of you might be familiar with, this is the Xbox Adaptive Controller, but today we're going to focus on some extra devices that will give you even more control over the Xbox controller. This includes an X-Keys joystick and then the Logitech gaming kit. One of the things that these will help you do is that it will help you to mimic the actual Xbox controller. And some individuals may have more difficulty using the pads, and they may do better with switches and with a joystick. So combining the two together, we can use the joystick to advance our characters forward or backwards, or if they're in a maze, to the left or to the right. And then with the switches here, we can use this to do other effects as well. This could be for jumping, this could be going for the left, that could be going to the right. These could be for selecting other options within the game. The Logitech kit comes with 12 different switches. It also comes with 3 different pads, and each pad you can stick on the pads using some industrial Velcro that comes with the kit. So there you have it. You have the X-Keys, you have the Logitech switch set, and then you have the adaptive controller itself. Combining these all together will definitely give you the same control that you would have an adaptive controller, and hopefully give you more access and more satisfaction when playing your games.
These 3D printed parts, they clip onto your controller and allow you to play using only your left hand. See, I move the whole controller with my wrist around like this, and that motion is transferred to the right thumbstick via this blue mechanism. These buttons push on the A, the B, Y, and cross buttons, so I can reach everything from the left side. Maybe you've seen the one-handed PlayStation controllers that I made a while back. I've gotten an amazing response to those. I really made them as a little hobby project and as a challenge to see if it was possible to make it work without modifying or breaking the controller itself. I couldn't imagine there would be so many people who would tell me that they are now able to play games that they weren't before. Although I do have to make a confession, I might have misled you in my previous video when I said I played with just one hand. If you look closely, you can see that I'm also using my leg.
In this video we're just going to have a real quick look at using a Razer Naga mouse as part of a one-handed gaming setup for consoles. So we have our Naga mouse plugged into our PC, and we have the PC plugged into the side of a Cronus Max adapter, which is now called the Controller Max, and this is plugged into the front of your console. And as we're using it on a PS4 controller needs to be plugged into it too. As the Naga has 12 additional buttons on its side, it makes a great one-handed gaming setup for a lot of different games. Most of the buttons on its side act like the number keys on your PC, but in the Naga's Synapse software you can also change them to act like any keyboard button presses, and you can even set them as macros so they can act like multiple buttons being pressed or sequences of button presses. Then we have the Cronus' Max Aim software turning these presses into inputs on the console controller. It's important to get the mouse settings right for you and Max Aim. These are the ones that I'm using. I think they're all pretty much the default settings, but I've dialed the default DPI of 800 down to 200. Here I've set button 2 to an upward push on the left analog stick of the PS4, 8 to a downward push, 4 and 6 to left and right, a downward scroll to the X button, 1 to triangle, the clicks to L and R2, and the mouse movement to movement of the right analog stick. This is just an example, and you can map things where you like them. There are plenty of buttons on the Naga to be getting on with, but if you wanted, you could also supplement them with voice controls and some switch buttons too. If you have any questions about this setup, please contact us via our website www.specialeffect.org.uk.
Ha! Ui, ui, ui. Hi guys, I'm Borsti and welcome to my channel Like a Engineer. In this video I will give an insight of how I still can enjoy Warzone with having only the left hand available. Key part will be the Razer Tartarus V2, which I've simply connected to a regular mouse, to a one-handed keyboard mouse. Big cheers at this point goes to Rodeswerk DE, as he has invented the one-handed keyboard mouse. Please find the link to his channel below. First, a few words about myself. I'm a casual mouse and keyboard player with the mouse on the right hand side who tries to improve a bit from time to time, but having fun in the end is the most important part of it. Due to a bike accident, I unluckily broke my right wrist, so now I have to make the best out of it. Before we jump into the Warzone, I want to give you also an overview about the other options available on the market. So for the case of cases that your left hand is disabled, there are some right-handed options available. If you are looking for an option when your right hand is disabled, there are some few options available. So let me show you the Tartarus V2 concept in a short. It's looking like this. We have the Tartarus and we have the mouse. And both are connected using a plastic cover and some double-faced adhesive tape. The last option, which can purely individualized, is the Xbox Adaptive Controller. There you have plenty of possibilities depending on the use case where you have your restriction. Okay, let's go to a plunder session to have a short demonstration. So, okay, I jumped into a short session of Plunder that you will get the first impression how the keybinds will work. I try to map all as natural as possible with respect how often it will be used. Yeah, the movement with the mouse, as you know it. So left side, right side, up and down. Then I have the bindings for my thumb. So the thumbstick is for WASD movement. Key number 20 is for the usage of the lethal equipment like Semtex. Then we have the thumb button. It's just if you are close to run out of your keypad, you can use that button to recenter the position. The next finger is the forefinger. Yeah, we have the normal shooting. The 15 is used for that. Then we have the number 10. This is for reloading your weapon. And we have also the 5. For example, this I have mapped to the usage for the field upgrade. Then we have the mouse wheel. This is basically to switch the weapon. And also for close fights, yeah, I have mapped that also. Then the next finger is the middle finger. Sorry for that, I don't mean it. Number 19 is for mounting your weapon. Number 14 will be for aim down sight. On number 9, we will have the usage of the tactical equipment. Number 4 is to put on some armor plates. Then let's come to the ring finger. The ring finger is with the number 18 to crouch walk and to slide. Number 13 will be to jump or to stand up, or if you're jumping out of the plane, to use your parachute. Then number 8 is the use key. Open close doors, for example. Door number 3 can use
Airstrike, you are cleared hot.
airstrike
Bring the
if you
pin.
like.
2-0, good copy. Cluster strike away.
So,
Ego-Shooter, Rollenspiele und ähnliche Games mit einer Hand zocken. Was ich mir dafür gebaut habe, wie ich es mir gebaut habe und wie das Ganze funktioniert, darüber reden wir im heutigen Video. Fast alle modernen Spiele verbindet ein großer Nachteil für Menschen mit Handicap. Und das ist die gleichzeitige Steuerung mit Maus und Tastatur. Meine Lösung dafür ist so simpel, wie sie eigentlich nur sein kann. Man nehme mir eine Maus und klebe sie an eine Tastatur. Das Ganze sieht dann so aus. Da sich das Ganze mit einer kompletten Tastatur aber schlecht umsetzen lässt, habe ich mir hier einfach die Gaming-Tastatur von Razer zugelegt. Ich muss sagen, das ist die Version 2.0, die bauen wir auch später noch zusammen. Steuerung und Programmierung der ganzen Geschichte ist relativ einfach. Wir haben die WASD-Tasten hier belegt und auf dem Daumensteuerkreuz liegen Leertaste Shift und Steuerung für Hüpfen nach oben, Shift für Rennen nach vorne und natürlich Steuerung nach unten für Ducken. Die beiden Maustasten habe ich so auf die Tastatur gelegt, dass ich beide mit dem kleinen Finger steuern kann. Hierbei steuere ich die linke Maustaste mit der Fingerkuppe und die rechte Maustaste mit dem darunterliegenden Gelenk. So können wir gleichzeitig zielen mit der rechten Maustaste und schießen mit der linken. Um Steuerung und Shift gleichzeitig nutzen zu können, habe ich mir die Steuerungstaste hier einfach noch ein zweites Mal belegt, damit ich wie hier die Tasten auch in Kombination verwenden kann. Kommen wir zum Aufbau. Da habe ich mein Prototyp hier schon seit vielen Jahren begleitet und sichtbar abgenutzt ist, bauen wir heute die Version 2.0 gemeinsam. Ich habe mich für den Tastaturpart für das Razer Tartarus V2 entschieden. Das Ganze hat 32 programmierbare Tasten und wichtig hierbei ist auch das Steuerkreuz für den Daumen. Ich habe euch den Link dazu mit in die Beschreibung gehauen. Als nächstes brauchen wir natürlich eine Gaming-Maus. Ich habe hier noch eine alte günstige über, nichts Besonderes, reicht aber für unsere Anforderungen hier vollkommen aus. Für eine leichte Beweglichkeit auf dem Mauspad brauchen wir am besten, wie hier bei meinem alten Gerät, eine Kunststoffoberfläche. Ich habe mir hierfür eine günstige Bewerbungsmappe aus Plastik zugelegt. Sie ist fest genug, alles zusammenzuhalten, aber dabei so dünn, dass sie den Maussensor nicht irritiert. Setzen wir nun alles zusammen, testen noch einmal, ob sich auch alles gut anfühlt und dann fahren wir die Geschichte einmal am Rand mit einem Bleistift ab. Dabei ist es hilfreich, das Ganze als erstes mit doppelseitigem Klebeband kurz zu fixieren, einfach damit nichts verrutscht, bis wir alles abgefahren haben. Nachdem wir uns die Katze aus dem Bild geschafft haben, lösen wir das Ganze ab und schneiden einmal entlang der Linie. Nach einem kurzen Passtest messen wir uns noch die Öffnung für den Maussensor aus, fahren ihn einmal mit Zirkel nach und schneiden diesen ebenfalls aus. Jetzt heißt es eigentlich nur noch zusammenbauen. Ich habe mich hier für Tesa Power Strips entschieden, da sie spätere Änderungen relativ leicht gestalten. Bei der Montage der Maus müssen wir darauf achten, dass das Loch auch mittig sitzt. Bei der Montage der Tastatur müssen wir die Anti-Rutschgummis entfernen, da diese zu dick sind und eine schlechte Oberfläche für Klebstoffe bildet. Nachdem wir nun alles montiert haben, schauen wir noch schnell, ob sich auch alles gut anfühlt und dann können wir auch direkt weiter zum Test. Wir springen noch schnell in das User Interface des Razer Tartarus V2, legen uns alle Tasten, wie wir sie brauchen und starten das erste Spiel. Leider musste ich beim ersten Test schon ziemlich schnell feststellen, dass die Entscheidung, die Maus diesmal auf die linke Seite zu montieren, denkbar schlecht war. Die Steuerung ist ziemlich ungenau und wackelig, deshalb nochmal zurück ans Reißbrett und die Maus wieder auf die rechte Seite. Mit der Maus auf der rechten Seite klappt nun alles wieder wie am Schnürchen und nach einer kurzen Eingewöhnungsphase an die leicht veränderte Handhaltung steht den nächsten ausgiebigen Runden Gaming nichts mehr im Wege. Wenn euch dieses Video gefallen hat, lasst mir doch ein Like und ein Abo da, vergesst die Glocke nicht und verpasst keins meiner Videos rund um die Tipps und Tricks aus dem alltäglichen Handling mit einer Hand. Solltet ihr jemanden kennen, dem dieses Video weiterhelfen könnte, würde ich mich unfassbar freuen, wenn ihr es weiterleiten könntet, denn das ist mit eine der Grundideen hinter diesem Channel. Vielen Dank und auf Wiedersehen bis zum nächsten Mal.
Meet Azeron Cyro, a hybrid between a keypad and a gaming mouse. Move your character with the thumbstick while also controlling the cursor. Adjust Cyro's parts and the angle of the thumbstick for effortless reach and comfortable gameplay. The device comes with grip tapes and a removable strap to ensure a perfect grip. Choose a version for the right or left hand. Map any key in a few clicks. Save tons of game profiles. Learn more on azeron.eu.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to build the one-handed controller that you see in a lot of our videos. This is the one-handed controller that I use. Quick disclaimer, I do have the use of both of my hands, so I will be using two hands to build this controller today. We will share a tutorial on how to build the Proteus controller with one hand as well. So we're going to start by opening up the box and grabbing our analog cubes. So you can build either a left or right-handed controller, it's up to you. You kind of just need to decide which analog cube you want at the top and which you want at the bottom. If you're used to using your left hand, I'd recommend putting the left analog cube at the top, and if you want to use the right hand, use the right analog cube at the top. It's a little bit easier to put the right analog cube at the top because that's for aiming, but again, it kind of just depends on what you want to do. I'm left-handed, so I will put the left analog cube at the top for this tutorial, but you can just swap it around depending on what you want. I like to start with the analog cube that I'm going to have at the bottom, which for me is the right analog cube. So I'm going to put the right analog cube upside down, and then I'm going to grab my half cube. The next thing you want to consider is which direction you want this male face to face. So I don't like it facing into my hand, so I face it the opposite direction. And then we will have to remap the analog stick later, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. Then you just pop the half cube on top so that the faces are flat at the front. Then you get any power cube, so this will be the power of our controller. Lock that into place. Don't forget to lock all your modules. So you can see this kind of shape forming here of your controller. If you want, you could use a mini analog cube here. I don't like to do this because you don't have enough buttons, but it's up to you. If you're playing a simple game, that would work really, really well. You have smaller hands. Then I'll grab my left analog cube, pop it at the top, and that's generally the shape of my controller. So it's actually pretty simple once you put it all together. And now I will put the buttons on. So I'm going to start with our triggers. So this is the left trigger. I usually put this at the top. And then I grab the right trigger and I put that at the bottom. Sometimes when I get into the game, I actually change this around and sometimes even put it upside down. It's a bit more comfortable. It really depends on the game and it depends totally on you. So build it however you want. This is just kind of a guideline to get you started. Then I'll grab my ABXY. Sometimes I put this upside down because like in my head, I know that B is on the right and X on the left. If I put them the other way around, then I get confused. Again, totally up to you. Make it how it works for you. Trial and error is a little bit a part of this experience, makes it more fun. Then I'll get my two 1 buttons, and these are kind of the hack of this controller because you can actually press these buttons really easily. I kind of just squeeze the controller and push the palm of my hand against it, and then I kind of get access to 2 extra buttons without having to use extra fingers. It depends on the game. I usually leave one as A for jumping, and then if there's another important button in the game, then I'll use that. Then I'll just put my D-pad here. It's pretty easy to access. I don't really use the D-pad much. Again, if there's a game where I use the D-pad more, I might put it somewhere else. And then I'll put my Xbox button on the side, and this is my controller. So these are all the buttons. This is the general layout with the analog stick at the bottom, and next I'll show you how to remap the analog stick. So I have 2 windows here. I have the Proteus controller app, and I also have it connected to the Xbox. I've plugged my Proteus controller in, And now I'm going to connect it to the app. So just make sure you have a charger and that it's plugged in. Once you get into the app, click the button remapping menu and then click analog sticks. And then move the analog stick you want to remap. So I pushed the analog stick against a table or my leg. So what I'm trying to do here is imagine I was moving forward and push the analog stick that direction and then set that as my forward. One of the tricks to do is to go into the Xbox accessories app here. And then click that little test tube and you can actually see what your controller is doing. So right now I'm moving forward, but it's actually going right. So I just want to update that direction, and now when I move forward, it's moving forward in the Xbox. Then when I track my left and my right, they're inverted. So I'm going to invert the horizontal axis and update that. So then on the Xbox, I can actually see that when I intend to move forward, I move forward, and when I intend to move left or right, I actually move left or right. Then that's all you need to do, so you can disconnect from the app and the controller will remember your remapping. So now I'll show you what it looks like when I actually play a game. Minecraft is one of the games I like to try when I build a new controller because it has pretty much every button, but it's not too stressful. So usually when I get into a game, I actually change things around a little bit, move the triggers around. Depends on the game. Some games use more buttons than others. Some games use triggers more than they use the ABXY. Some games are the complete opposite. Sometimes you want to remap your buttons so you don't have to change the controller for each game. It's kind of up to you. This is where I got confused with my menus being upside down. So I think I changed that again later. But I wanted to show you the kind of real experience of getting into a new game and figuring out the best way to set up your controller. After a couple of minutes of messing around, I decided I wanted the left trigger at the top, then the right trigger down from that, and then the ABXY down from that. Because I do have, and you can see here me jumping, I do have really easy access to A with the one button. So I actually didn't really need the ABXY that much, only really needed it in the menus. So I felt like it was easier to just put it at the back of the controller and you'd need the trigger like all the time in Minecraft. So essentially that's why I set the controller up a little bit differently by the end. But I wanted to show you that because it is part of using the controller, especially when you first get it and especially when you're trying a new game. It did take me a little while to get used to the analog stick at the bottom, and if I hand this controller over to someone who's never used it before, they won't know how to get their head around it. So don't worry if you're a bit stuck with this controller. It's a bit tricky, but I do think, for me, of course, my opinion is that it's a pretty good one-handed controller. And we will have a new tutorial soon with different one-handed configurations. So if this one doesn't work for you, don't worry. There's more controllers out there.